I'm excited for this episode.
I am too, although less excited, I think, than I was for this episode last year.
Why do you say? I mean, why do you say that? I'm excited for the episode. I think the content's going to be very different, though.
Yeah, okay, that's true. I am excited for the concept of this episode. I'm excited that we're doing this episode, but I think it will not be as content-filled as it was last year.
I feel like last year I was like, oh, I'm being really realistic about it. But I feel like I want to say that again. I'm being really realistic about what I'm excited for, anticipating this year. But I think I'm going to say that every year and just be wrong every year.
I'm also being realistic, but I don't think I was unrealistic last year. But we'll talk about it. We'll get into it. Here we go. Welcome back to Pride and Accomplishment. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jason. This is episode 117. If you don't know what we're talking about, this episode is all about kind of looking, well, we're adding in a little bit of look back on 2023. And really the thing that we did last year that we're going to do again this year is looking kind of forward to 2024. What are we most excited about? What are we most anticipating? What do we know about that, we just can't wait to get our hands on? Or what are those things that are announced and then that we can wait to get our hands on?
One thing that struck me, we went through, we kind of always do, I search for, what's, games coming in 2024 or whatever, and find a big list and go through them. And one thing I noticed just in general is that there's not a ton of stuff that has a confirmed 24 release date.
I'm so happy you said this because I noticed the exact same thing. Looking at just the list of January, February, March, April, each of them. And then there's this giant list at the bottom that's sometime in 2024, maybe.
Right, exactly. And we'll have a link to that in the show notes so you can check it out. But I was a little bit concerned because 2023 has actually turned out to be an excellent year for gaming. There have been so many good games that have come out. And now I'm looking at 24 and being like, ooh, I hope some people have some surprise announcements or something that they haven't, they've been sitting on for a while or something that'll come out and be big in the kind of middle to the back half of the year. Because right now, for me at least, the list is not that long.
Well, let's be clear here. I mean, I've heard it said a couple of times, but every game that was nominated for Game of the Year in 2023 would have won Game of the Year in any other year. It's the competition in 2023 was so fierce on all of the good big games coming out that I think you're going to see maybe 2 or 3 in 2024 that are really going to contend for that spot. And we've got them on our list here. I think we're looking at a couple of them. But I don't think it's going to be as jam-packed. I just don't think that that's ever going to happen again.
Well, forever is a long time. But I think you're right. The 2024 is not going to be the same as 23. Actually, watching the Game Awards and the things that we talked about after the Game Awards, a lot of those trailers were for 2025. So I'm wondering if 25 will actually be more kind of action-packed than we expect.
Potentially. Chris, you did some homework this time, which I was not expecting, but I'm glad you did based on what I'm seeing in the show notes.
Yeah, I went ahead and listened to the last time that we did this, which for listeners, if you want to follow along, episode 93 was our previous what we're looking forward to in 2023 episode. And we both made a list, and I think we had a top 5 or so, and then we had some honorable mentions. And we talked about what we were looking forward to for the year, what we were kind of expecting, and kind of the things that we wanted to get out of these games. And I thought it was super interesting going back and listening to those and looking at the list because things changed from January of 2023 to December of 23.
Yeah, that's why these episodes are so interesting. And I love that we're doing this year after year. I wish I would have thought of this. I wish I would have gone back and listened to it, but you wrote down some interesting quotes. I don't know how you plan to kind of format this, but I would maybe just recap all of the games that I listed last year, and then we could talk about a couple of them.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the best way to go is we'll just do our list real quick and then not explain anything about them, but just say the names of the games and then maybe some key points to talk about.
Yeah, sure. So I think last year we chose 5-ish games or whatever, and then obviously Chris and I can't follow any rules, so we have some honorable mentions as well. My 5 games were Starfield, Palia, Wayfinder, Guild Wars 2, it's called Living World Season 6, but we kind of learned that Soto got released, so Guild Wars 2 in general. Armored Core 6 were my 5, and then my not following the rules honorable mentions were World of Warcraft, particularly the season change, Throne and Liberty, Dune Awakening, and God of War Ragnarok.
That great game that came out in checks notes 2022.
Yeah, I mean, so you have a quote here about God of War Ragnarok that apparently on that episode I said, this is on my list for 2023 because I will be playing it in 2023. And
how'd that work out for you?
It's on my list for 2024 now.
Oh, boy. I will say I did play and finish God of War Ragnarok in 2023, so I sniped that one from you, I guess. And it's great, and you should play it.
I cannot wait. I mean, I think I've said, I don't know if I said it on the last episode, but I finally got my kind of room all situated. I did not end up setting up my TV in between now and last episode, but I plan to. And that will be kind of the space for God of War. God of War Ragnarok is the first game I'm going to play when I set up my TV. Just haven't done it yet.
Well, we all eagerly await your updates and review on God of War. I will also be playing God of War Ragnarok in 2024 because I'm going to play Valhalla, the free DLC that just came out, but I haven't started it yet.
It got great reviews. I don't know if you saw. I mean, Skill Up is the only one I really watched, but like people really love it. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it'll be cool for you to be able to roll right into that if you want to. So that'll be nice.
I do want to say a couple of things about all of the other games. I never played Starfield. We talked about it a couple times on the podcast, but I never actually booted it up a single time. I never played Palia. I don't know if you ever played Palia.
Nope.
That was a cool game. We just never got around to it. Never really came up. I did... Last episode, you said about Wayfinder, I said I will be picking this up. I will be trying this game, and I did do that. I did buy Wayfinder. I did play Wayfinder. I played for maybe 20 hours or so, maybe 15 hours.
Oh, wow.
It was fine. It's still in early access. They're still, getting through some stuff. I'm happy to have supported the game. It had a bit of a shakeup with the whole Digital Extremes pulling out as a publisher, but not because of the game, more because of their financial situation. But no, I'm still excited for that game. I still think it has a lot of soul searching to do on really trying to figure out how they will deal with particularly progression. There's a lot of question marks around progression and really making it a long-term kind of game like Warframe. But it was good. It was a good experience. I'd never played Armored Core 6. Also really regret that. That's on my pile of shame as well.
You were so excited about it on that last episode.
I know. I have just been hearing amazing, great things. Armored Core 6 is one of those games that released in any other year other than 2023, huge game of the year contender, right?
Really?
But because of 2023, it didn't even get nominated for Game of the Year during the Game Awards. It got nominated and won some other stuff, but that's, oh man, just everyone talking about Armored Core 6, everyone that kind of talks about it and plays it and they're like, yeah, it's this little easier than it used to be, but it's this return to form. It's really good. It's it just fits and it hits all in the right spots. And I've seen people play it. I've seen some streams of it and I'm just I want to play this so bad. So it's still on my list. But again, that's kind of one of those things that, I think would be best probably on my TV on my PS5.
Hey, there you go. Never thought I'd hear you say that.
So I know I'm considering that idea. The other thing I said Guild Wars 2. I did play Guild Wars 2. I kind of fell off of it, but I did play the expansion and all of that good stuff. And I guess in January I didn't know that Soto was coming out. Is that what happened?
No, they announced that and it came out in within 6 months or something. It was quick. I think that they announced it in May or June and it came out in August or September.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's interesting looking back that I thought like Living World Season 6 was coming out, and then they ended up just switching to a yearly expansion cycle. I like what they've done. I'm happy with how it's working out. I would say I've fallen off of Guild Wars 2 a little bit, but that's the thing I love about Guild Wars is you just get back into it and you get back up on that horse, and it's right where you left off, which is a little different than World of Warcraft. I will say, I have here, wow, how will I feel about the season change? Well, I kind of fell off. It was fun. It was cool.
I will completely drop the game altogether and not play at all after the season change. Cool. Got it. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it worked out. I didn't mind the season change so much. I think I was just kind of burnt on WoW. So I don't know. But anyway, I did play Throne and Liberty. This one really surprises me that I put it on my list last year. But it's that other game from NCSoft, which it owns ArenaNet that makes Guild Wars 2. Apparently, the Throne and Liberty is doing really well internationally. Like, it's got a really good like player base.
Oh.
I did play the technical test or the beta or whatever you want to call it for like 10 or 15 hours, and I really liked it. Like, I thought it was a good like action-y RPG, MMORPG kind of thing. Like, when it comes out, I will, depending on like the price point and where it all is and how it's all monetized, because that's still kind of a big question mark to me. I don't know. That still might be on my list to like play for a couple of months as my MMO of choice. So that's and I guess Dune Awakening is there. I don't know. Is Dune Awakening that RTS?
Did that even come out? I don't even know.
I don't even know.
The movie got bumped because of the strikes in Hollywood. So I'm wondering if they bumped the game.
I was really disappointed by that.
Yeah, you sent me a message. You're like, "Oh, Dune comes out today." And I was like, "No, it doesn't. It got pushed to 2024."
Yeah, it was on my calendar, and I just never updated it. No, Dune Awakening is that open world survival MMO, whatever that means, that they announced a couple years ago, I guess. I don't know. Still no release date for it, so who knows?
You can put it on your list again this year.
I will re-add it to my list once I watch the second movie.
Fair. On my list, my games that I had, my 5 were Pikmin 4, Endless Dungeon, Star Trek Resurgence, Final Fantasy 16, and Spider-Man 2. And then my honorable mentions were WoW, specifically Raiding, Pharaoh, A New Era, and Firmament. And then we mentioned Tears of the Kingdom, but it wasn't one of my honorable mentions. Couple of highlights there. One thing I said about Pikmin 4 that I thought was funny is I said, I have a really hard time mustering up enthusiasm about anything on the Switch at this point. And in 2023, I bought another Switch. So
I was going to say that has shifted significantly since you said that.
It has, yeah, because we got Pikmin 4 this year and we got Super Mario Wonder and we got Super Mario RPG. So I have played a lot of Switch this year. And I do not have the trouble kind of mustering up enthusiasm for the Switch anymore, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But Pikmin 4, I played it a bunch. It was great. I beat it. I still haven't like finished it. Like, I rolled credits on it, but there's a bunch of stuff after that. So I'm still playing Pikmin 4 on and off, and it's the kind of game that you can kind of drop in, drop out, and like pick up and just play a level, and it still works. So it's a very fun game. Still enjoying it. Nice little RTS on the Switch. It's really good.
At the time of episode 93, Super Mario Wonder and Super Mario RPG had not been announced, right?
Oh, yeah. No, not at all. They both got announced in like June at the kind of E3 timeframe. I should stop calling it that because E3 is like officially dead. But yes, in June, they got announced for both Super Mario Wonder and Super Mario RPG like remake. And then both of those came out in the fall. So I picked them both up and have played them both.
I would say that those definitely contributed to the revitalization of the Switch.
Oh, absolutely.
I guess I wasn't really hearing too much about it from you until kind of Pikmin 4 came out. And then like past that, I really wasn't hearing too much about it until those games came out. And that's when like, I just feel like everything kind of really took off from there. When did you get your Switch OLED?
I got the Switch OLED in June or July. Because I got it basically to play Pikmin.
Gotcha.
And it was perfect for what I needed because I did a kind of a long work trip and like I took it with me and I played it handheld and it was great. It's the problem with it is now I want a Steam Deck OLED because I know how good OLED screens are and I do not need a Steam Deck OLED.
Yeah, I do too. But not, and they're not, you could just purchase one and get one next week. It's not even like they're on back order.
Yeah, which if they had done anything with the specs of the Steam Deck, like I would have bought a Steam Deck OLED, no problem, but they didn't. So not really. So I can't justify it. Anyway, a couple other games that are of note. Endless Dungeon. Jason and I played Endless Dungeon and actually really enjoyed it. And I don't know, we might go back to it a little bit. Maybe not.
I'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun game. We played it with some friends, or a friend or two. Had fun with it. I would love to jump back into it and maybe try to finish off a run at least, because we never did do that. So maybe we should
never finish it.
Plan some time to do that. And then Star Trek Resurgence, I didn't touch. I actually completely forgot about. Interestingly enough, I looked it up again today, and it was an Epic Games exclusive on PC, which is probably why I didn't even think about it. But it's coming to Steam. I think it had like a 1-year exclusivity. So like coming up in Q2 of 2024, it's releasing on Steam, and maybe I'll take another look at it. Maybe I'll just wait for it to come in a Humble Bundle or just never play it. But I'm not really interested in kind of jumping into Star Trek Resurgence. I am getting my Star Trek fix from Star Trek TV shows, which have gotten very good in the last year. So I will just keep waiting for those. The next one was Final Fantasy 16. I did not buy or play Final Fantasy 16, although we both talked about being excited to play it. You even said like, ooh, this might be my first introduction to Final Fantasy. And I didn't really happen, but it kind of did, because you played the demo when you were visiting me, and I think you enjoyed it. So
yeah, I still think that I still think the statement holds. I still am hoping, to kind of get Final Fantasy 16 and have it be my intro into that kind of series of games. But I mean, I guess it's just going to have to go on the 2024 list. It's another one on the pile of shame from 2023.
I actually was playing the demo of Final Fantasy 16 myself a couple days ago, and finding myself thinking about it a little bit like the next day. And so I'm like, ooh, maybe I need to finish that demo and then maybe buy the game. It's started to go on sales now, so it's like $40 on sale on the PS5 store.
Oh, okay.
So it's getting there. And then the last thing in my list of my 5 was Spider-Man 2, which I just platinumed yesterday or the day before. So I am now done with Spider-Man 2, and it was very good.
Yeah, you were right on point there with Spider-Man 2.
Yep, that was my most anticipated for 23, and it delivered.
We didn't put Tears of the Kingdom on either of our lists, but it was kind of an honorable mention last year. I mean, that took the world by storm for about 2 months, but even you put a lot of hours into that game last year, right?
Oh yeah, I absolutely did, and that was another kind of motivating factor for the Switch OLED was playing Tears of the Kingdom like handheld. That might have been when I got the Switch OLED, actually, was maybe when I was going to play Tears of the Kingdom. I think that's when I did it, because I remember considering the Tears of the Kingdom like special edition Switch OLED, which had all like the Zelda markings on it, and I did not pay the extra $10 or $20 to get that, which was a fine choice. Worked out. But yes, I did play it a lot, and I played it a lot in handheld on the Switch OLED, and it was great. Like it was excellent.
Do you remember why it didn't make your list?
I didn't get that far. So I was listening to the episode from last year, and I got about 3/4 of the way through it before it was kind of time to get ready to record. So I don't know. I didn't go back and like listen to why it didn't make the list. I think it was because I didn't love Breath of the Wild. Like I didn't really. It took me forever to finish Breath of the Wild, so I did not have high hopes for Tears of the Kingdom. But once it came out and everybody was like, "Oh, they did it again, and it's amazing," I kind of FOMO'd into it, and I'm really glad that I did, because it was excellent.
Okay. All right.
So that's our look back at memory lane kind of a thing. We have new lists for this year with the things that we're looking at for 2024.
We do have new lists, and what I will say off the top is it was I don't know whether it was just because there's less coming out next year or less is announced, or it was much easier to keep our lists short this year than it was last year.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, a lot of my things that I'm looking forward to are things that like basically don't even have confirmed releases in 2024, but they're the things that I'm most looking forward to. So that's what we'll talk about. This year we have 3 each plus some honorable mentions. Some have more honorable mentions than others, but we can talk through that. We have a top 3 games, and what we did last year, which I think worked really well and we should do it again, is kind of going alternating every other, and we have them. I don't know if yours are organized like this, but I kind of did mine the same. where they're kind of least to most excited. So from excited to very excited. And we can talk maybe what our picks are in kind of alternating fashion.
I guess I'll start first because I'm pretty sure that the one I'm about to say is the first one to come out in the first one on our list. It's, we've been talking about it for a while. I don't think it's going to be a forever game. I don't think it's going to be a long-term game, but I am definitely getting, maybe it's Game Pass. I can't remember. I don't know. Whatever. I'm so excited about it. Helldivers 2. We just keep talking about Helldivers 2. I'm so excited for Helldivers 2. The endless dungeon kind of play. It's not even the same game, but just like that experience of playing with other people. Like, oh man, I'm so ready for Helldivers 2. The humor in the game of the advertising has been so funny. Every time I see an advertisement for it, I smile and I laugh. And I remember kind of the Helldivers 1 experience, which again is totally different game type, right? Helldivers 1 is a twin stick shooter, whereas Helldivers 2 is a third person shooter. But I'm just ready for it. It comes out on February 8th, and I know that it may take a little convincing to get you into it, and I'm going to try it out first and see how it all goes. But I'm hoping that it is everything I am wishing for, and I'm hoping that I can get some other people involved as well.
I'm not really looking forward to this game, but I'm very glad that you're excited for it. So because of that, I will try it. But I will definitely wait for you to see if it's like a buggy mess and if we should just wait 6 months kind of a thing. But I will commit to playing Helldivers 2 with you because I know that you're very excited about it. It doesn't really do it for me, but the thing I didn't like the most about Helldivers 1 was the friendly fire for the most part. And the twin stick thing, it didn't quite work for me, but I don't know why, because Endless Dungeon was super fun, as we just talked about. So I should have enjoyed it more, but I think the friendly fire it took me out of it too much because it required too much paying attention, I guess I'll say, about that. And I didn't like it for that kind of game.
I just thought it was so fun. Like it was, I don't know. We probably got on your back a lot about, shooting us in the back, but and that's maybe why it wasn't as fun for you, but it was, I thought it just added a really fun element to it. I wonder if I haven't played it in a long time. I wonder if they ever like took away the ability or gave the ability to like turn off friendly fire. And because if that was really what it was, like we could go back and try it. I wonder if there's a mod for it or something. But anyway, it doesn't matter. February 8th, we're getting Helldivers 2. We should we'll look forward. And I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I mean, I'm just ready for it.
My, I guess, least excited of the three things we have here is something that is not announced yet, but I'm still very much looking forward to it, which is the expansion for Factorio. So we don't have any dates for this. We don't have any real details. Factorio, the game itself, was in early access for like 10 years, and then it kind of came out as a 1.0. I'm expecting them to do kind of the same thing with their 2.0, which I think is what they're going to call this expansion. But they've been doing dev blogs and stuff. Every Friday, they put out Factorio Friday Facts. And they've been showing some of the new stuff, which includes going to space and having space platforms and going to other planets and setting up factories on other planets and all sorts of really cool automation-y things, but still within the Factorio engine. Because I feel like a lot of other games that try to do these like, oh, it's Factorio with X, screw it up because they're like, oh, it's Factorio with first person Satisfactory. And that's just not super fun. So I am really looking forward to this, and I'm kind of expecting that we're going to get at least a beta or like a way to purchase early access for this expansion coming in 2024, and I am here for it.
What is that based on? Is that just based on your expectations? Is that based on what you're seeing from a development standpoint? Are there rumors floating around on subreddits? Like what's going on?
It's based on the idea that like they said that there was an expansion, then waited I think like 2 years, and then started giving these like weekly drips of information and like systems and updates and like artwork updates, and like they are really like showing you the dev process of this thing. And I think that they're showing so much information and it's coming kind of to fruition that I think they're going to release something. It's just a gut feel, but it looks done enough from the stuff that they're showing. It looks playable enough that they could put it out there and people would play it and it would be fun.
Gotcha. Yeah. So when are we playing Factorio 1.0 again to get in the mood?
I mean, I'm ready. Like, let's go. I actually really have been. So I've been playing. Just side note, I've been playing a lot of WoW lately, and a lot of PS5 games. Like I said, Platinum Spider-Man 2 in the past month. And so I've been playing a lot of that kind of stuff. But I have had that little bit of an itch of I want to do some kind of PC something. Base building, Factorio type of thing. It's definitely getting the itch a little bit, and I think it would be a good cozy winter thing to do.
We played that Astroneer that one night. We just, I don't know, we just pulled out Astroneer one night, and man, I still look back on that one day and be like, we should play more Astroneer. But I'd be good for playing Factorio too. Yeah,
the problem with Factorio is you have to clear 36 hours continuous to be able to play it.
Something else you have to clear 36 hours for.
We did this in the last episode. We had these excellent segues between these things, and
did we?
We did. Yeah, that was the episode title was "Speaking of," because we speaking of'd ourselves between every game almost.
Oh God!
But we don't have to do that this year because
We're
that title's already done.
Anyway, so I have been playing a lot of Warframe lately.
Mm-hmm.
With their Whispers in the Walls update, I kind of got back into it. I was telling Chris the other day, it's really nice, particularly in Warframe, and I'm sure, it's the same for WoW, it's the same for basically any MMO, right? It's really nice to be at the forefront of the content and to get in and to play the latest content with everyone else playing the latest content. So you don't feel behind, you feel kind of involved, as the guides are coming out on YouTube, or, the content is kind of being created in the YouTube media streaming Reddit kind of world. It's all current and it's all applicable to what you're doing right then and there. So I've been really enjoying Warframe. I think I mentioned this on the show, and I think Chris kind of got the feeling he played or he saw this in some of the trailers. And if you haven't, go watch some of the trailers for Warframe. But this Whispers in the Walls update was just an intro. It was like a 1.5 hour, cinematic quest that is an intro to the big expansion that they're doing next year called Warframe 1999, right? Which is theoretically, we don't really know, but a lot of the what the heck happened, how did we get here? What's going on? But Whispers in the Walls that came out I don't know, a month ago or whatever now, really kind of set the stage to go to that expansion. So I'm really excited for that next year. They haven't said when it's coming out. My expectation is that it's going to come out mid-year, because generally what Warframe is kind of on the same pace as Guild Wars 2 now, which it seems like maybe World of Warcraft is trying to go to. They're trying to increase the pace in their content drops and potentially make them a little smaller. But Warframe for the past year or two has kind of done a small kind of content cinematic quest late in the year, and then a pretty large one kind of in the middle of the year. And we saw that, Chris, you and I saw that with Duviri, and then a couple months later, Whispers in the Walls came out. This one now in Warframe 1999, and they really haven't announced what's after that, but they're kind of doing one big, one small per year. So I'm expecting Warframe 1999 sometime in the middle of the year, as a much larger kind of cinematic experience. I'm excited for that. I've gotten so much back into it. I've really started to I'm spending a lot of time in Warframe right now. So, Warframe's the other kind of game, just like Guild Wars 2, you could always jump back into and just keep playing from where you left off. There's nothing kind of holding you back, or there's no catch up mechanics or anything like that. So it's always really nice to get back into. So yeah, I don't know, next year, Warframe 1999. It's a really cool aesthetic. It's a really cool, cause Warframe, I've mentioned this on the show. The setting is just totally weird. It's just very out there, but there's so many kind of elements of Warframe 99. You're in a New York subway, that's kind of how it gets introed. New York subway, really recognizable kind of CRT monitors and PCs, and what the heck's going on, and how did we get from that as a part of the history to where Warframe takes place normally. So it's really down to earth. That's my sales pitch for it, and I'm excited for that.
I don't have any excitement for Warframe really, other than I do think that the aesthetic for this one looks good. Like, I think it looks like my kind of thing. It's almost like steampunk, except that it's 90s instead of, 1920s or whatever. But it's that kind of thing where it's like a retro future kind of a deal. And I like that as a concept. I don't like Warframe as a game, so I don't think I'll play it. But I'd be interested to see kind of if there's anything notable that they do or any particular cinematics or something that are interesting. Maybe I'll drop in and watch something. But I'm certainly not excited for this one.
I feel like Warframe 1999 is going to have cinematics or like cutscenes or whatever, where I can show you, who's not a Warframe fan, right? Who has not been part of the lore or the storyline up. And I'm hoping that it has cutscenes where I can be like, look at this. Is this not cool on how, something happened, right? Like, this is how we got to, like, this is how Warframe kind of came about, right? Like, or whatever the cutscene is, like, when I show you something that is in the subway system of New York City, you're like, okay, I have a basis of understanding, and like I can then share that experience a little bit, even if you're not playing, with you or with some other people. And I'm hoping that it allows us to do that a little bit. We'll see. I don't know. But it just gives, when I share a cutscene of something that's happened in Warframe, like right now, you're just like, what am I looking at? Like, I have no basis. I have no context, nothing to ground myself on, but I'm hoping that changes with Warframe 99 just a little bit, like not enough to get you into the game, but at least enough to share the story with you a little bit.
I'll keep an open mind. I'm happy to be, interested in it, but I right now the story is out there and the gameplay is not my thing, so I really don't get into Warframe as a game. So hopefully this is the turning point. Like, let's do it. My next game is something that also doesn't have a release date, but is a sequel / expansion or whatever you want to call it to an existing game, and that is Hades 2. We got a trailer for this last year, and I am so looking forward to it.
We don't know this is do we know this is 2024 at least, or is it we don't know at all?
I don't think we know for sure, but I think the idea of like the fact that they gave the trailer last year and then nothing else, like no other information, implies that it's probably coming in 24. But maybe that's there's an article here from September that says they will launch into early access in Q2 of 2024. Oh yeah, I just found it on the Steam page also, which still says to be announced. Like the release date still says to be announced. I'm surprised that they didn't update that to say Q2 24. But
well, that's Q2 is the early access.
Sure, fine, but that's when you can first buy it usually.
Right, but that's not considered the release date on Steam.
Really?
Yeah, release date is when 1.0 launches.
Oh.
If a game launches into early access, it's not considered release.
Okay. I know that you're much more principled about early access things than I am, so I don't really pay that much attention to early access differences.
Yeah, I probably won't buy it on early access.
Oh, I will. I absolutely will.
Unless it's co-op.
No, I don't think. I think it's still single player like the first game. The first game of Hades was one where I was like I don't understand this. Like I wasn't really into roguelikes at the time. I didn't really get it. And I was like, well, this is silly. Like, why would I play this game that I know I'm going to lose? And then something clicked. I don't know. But it may have been when I got the Steam Deck. It might have been when I got Hades on Switch. I've bought Hades like 2 or 3 times at this point.
Yeah, you bought it on Switch. I remember that. You played it a lot on Switch first, right? And then you came back?
I did. So I played it like a little bit on Steam, then a lot on Switch, then a little bit on Steam, then a lot on Steam Deck. So I think that Hades for me is just a handheld game. Like, it's just that kind of game for me. And I think I would pick this up on Steam and play it on the Steam Deck again, like Hades 2. I think I'll plan to play it on the Steam Deck. I really like the lore and the kind of story reveal that they do with it, and the roguelite elements where you kind of get some like currencies that you can use to upgrade yourself so you can get good, because I'm not naturally good. So it's I really enjoy Hades' gameplay loop, and I'm really looking forward to more new and different like Hades gameplay. That's really all there is to it. Like, I just want more Hades.
Have we learned it all? Like, this has a different protagonist, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the main guy from the first game. It's supposed to be like his sister or something.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm sure there's actual, mythology around that, which I like. That's the part that I liked, is that, it's a different story, as they always do with this stuff, but it was very close to actual mythology. Like it did a very nice job of remaining as true to source material as you can with this kind of stuff. But that was really interesting to me. I really liked that. And when I didn't play too much Hades, I did play a little bit of it, but when I watched a lot of Hades, I had a lot of fun, like looking up, like, okay, well, that's what it is in the game. Like, what is it in reality, or what is it in actual mythology? I don't know,
in
reality,
real fake things,
actual mythology.
Right. Yeah, no, it's very. I don't know. I guess they try to stay pretty true to that source material, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, I hope for there'd be new weapons, new powers, new things. It's just more Hades, and it's going to be great.
My number one for 2024 is probably a little ambitious, looking at what I completed in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think of all of the things that are kind of on the list, if you put all my interests together, it's not going to be that surprising.
No, this one has your name written all over it. I did almost put it on my list or on my honorable mention list, but I let you have it. I am pretty sure it's scheduled for 2024. We just don't know exactly when. But Star Wars Outlaws is supposed to come out next year. And it just checks so many boxes for me. I have said for the longest time I wanted a Star Wars game in an open world kind of environment, just like Assassin's Creed. And like, they just were like, yeah, of course. Why? That makes perfect sense. So they're doing it, right? And that's what, at least what I see from the gameplay, trailers, to what they're kind of promising, to what they're showing. Star Wars Outlaws, to me, is going to be that Assassin's Creed open world kind of quest-based, story-driven game, but in the Star Wars universe. And I love that, like, so far, it's not about anyone we know. It's not about, like, it's not following the story of a person that we see in the movies. It's like it's a brand new story, at least as far as I can tell. You may meet up with some people. I love that. I really think that that's what I was looking for. And again, I've said I was going to play God of War. I said I was going to play Final Fantasy. I said I was going to play all these single player games, and I never got around to them. But I think if Star Wars Outlaws came out, I would probably drop everything else to at least try it and see how much I like it and how much I'm into it, because it's all of my interests combined into one, right? It's that video game, it's that kind of open world. I really do like the Assassin's Creed kind of open world stuff. It's Star Wars, it's sci-fi. I mean, Star Wars, sci-fi, it's just this perfect conflux of all of these things, and I cannot wait to see more of it. And I'm really hoping it is 2024, and I'm really hoping it doesn't get delayed. We'll see. I don't know. But of all of the things that I could see on the list that are coming out supposedly for 2024, that is the one that I wanted. I'm most like excited for. I really want to play this game. I do not have a good track record of Star Wars games. I played The Old Republic, the MMO. That was the most Star Wars game that I've played of any Star Wars game, including, like, I never really played Knights of the Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic 2. I was hoping that they were going to make that remake of KOTOR, and then that would be where I would kind of get into it. But it hasn't happened, and I think I heard something where it's like having a little bit of trouble development wise. So that may never happen, and so then may never get to do that. But this game does look good. You mentioned you wanting Assassin's Creed Star Wars. This is from Ubisoft, right? This is essentially Assassin's Creed Star Wars.
Yeah. It's not even like halfway. It's just that it is. And you know what also makes me really excited about this game? And I didn't note it here, and I didn't really put two and two together until like literally just right now. but the Avatar game got great reviews.
Yes, people did like
which
that
is
game.
Also Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed, Avatar. And if they can do, I don't know how well it's selling, I don't know how it's doing, but like it got great kind of reviews from the critics. And that gives me hope that Star Wars will also be a very well done game. The Assassin's Creed formula is a good one, and Ubisoft, they've had some bad ones mixed in there, but overall it's a pretty good series. I think they're the perfect ones to do this one.
Well, you know what they say, rebellions are built on hope.
Oh boy.
No, I do hope this is good, and I hope that it comes out in 2024 because, like I said, there's not much going on in the back half of 2024, and this would be a good summer game if they could pull it off.
My thing is, do I play this on PC or PlayStation?
I was going to ask you that because I wanted to know what would you choose, because it's a single player Assassin's Creed I guess I'll say. I don't know. I would probably pick this up on PlayStation for me, but I don't know what you would do.
I think my rule is generally tending towards, if it's single player, I'm playing it on PlayStation. And if it's multiplayer, I'm going to play it on PC. I think that's what I'm tending towards. So assuming there's no multiplayer elements to this game, which I don't think there are, but we really don't know yet because there were some multiplayer Assassin's Creed games, but I don't think this is going to be one of them. I don't think that's going to happen here. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards PlayStation on this.
I think that's the right choice. I mean, I always say that, we talked about this a long time ago, but the Uncharted games feel like couch games to me. I want to sit in a big comfy chair and with a controller in my hand, 10 feet from the screen. That's what I want for those kind of big spectacle-y single player games. And this would absolutely fit that bill for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, cool. Let's hope that it's coming.
I'm jealous, Chris, because your single player game that you really want to play is definitely coming.
Yes. My number one is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the next chapter in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. And it's coming out on February 29th. And I've already pre-ordered it. So I'm definitely getting it and definitely playing it when it comes out.
You pre-ordered it for a very good reason, though. I looked up what you get with the pre-order, and that was really enticing.
Yeah, so they have this thing they're calling a twin pack, and it's basically Final Fantasy VII Rebirth with the original Final Fantasy VII Remake and the expansion, which is a $20 expansion of DLC content. It's not an expansion, it's just a DLC. But I didn't have that DLC, so I got this twin pack thing, and it got me that, right? It got me access, and I had a disc copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake, so this allowed me to have a digital copy of it if I want to go back and trophy hunt or pick stuff up or whatever. I don't have to put the disc in. So I am looking forward to playing that DLC before the next game comes out, because the DLC was kind of a bridge anyway. It introduced a new character who's going to be in the second game and all of that stuff. I'm very excited to get back into that world. I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake this year, and I'm kind of getting ready to get back into it.
I mean, that's what I should buy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You get Remake with it. You get the DLC and you get Rebirth all together.
And it's $70. That's a deal. Why not? Go for it. Because even on sale, even on the holiday sale for PlayStation, the DLC was still $15 on its own. And I was well, it's no more money. And I don't know why they give you a choice. You can choose to either get the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth regular or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth twin pack, and they cost the same amount of money, and one of them comes with more stuff. So why would you choose the other one? I don't know. Is the twin pack only available for pre-purchase? Oh, that could be. That's a good point. I don't know. It doesn't say.
I'm pretty sure that's what I read, and I could be wrong. I didn't look too deeply into it, but that's what made it really enticing to me. I was oh, if that's going to go away, and this is only available as a pre-purchase, that's some value for pre-purchase.
I would caution for you specifically, because see previous conversation about single player games. But I would caution and say, take a look at what the current sale prices are for Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I think they are pretty good. I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is $15 or $20 right now, the base game. So it may not be that bad to pick them both up later, or maybe they'll do a bundle pack, or maybe something else will happen. Like if you don't, like for you, I would say consider the 2 hour rule.
Because it would violate the 2 hour rule.
Yeah, consider the 2 hour rule for you, because I'm pretty sure that you won't play it. Like I will play it in March. Like I know I will, but I don't think you will. So it's probably not worth it for you to pre-order this one.
Okay. All right. That's kind of that's good advice. It just looks like a really good deal for something that I may probably eventually play. So it was really enticing to grab it all together. And I did kind of hear that it was a pre-order only, but you're right. They're going to do some other kind of deal or bundle eventually.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't take much to be able to get that one. Eventually it'll go into the annals of like old Final Fantasy games that keep getting resold as full price games, and then it'll get expensive again. So you got to catch it on the sweet spot when it's cheap before it gets expensive, because that's what they seem to do. But I think you have some time on this one. Maybe they'll do one for the third piece of the trilogy that's all three of them, and then you can do it.
Yeah, right. I want the trilogy. Is this your most anticipated game higher than Hades 2 and Factorio because it actually has a release date? Or are you actually the most excited about this game?
This is like the biggest story game, right? So Hades, of course, has story, but they kind of drip feed it in the roguelike stuff. This one it has like the again, sit on the couch, play the game, do the story. Like it's something that my wife and I will get into together. Like we'll watch the story together. It checks all of those boxes. So that's probably like, it's my most anticipated story game. I would think that Hades 2 is probably my most anticipated game, maybe. And then Factorio is my most anticipated multiplayer game.
Oh, okay. All right. I love how you've done that. Okay.
Maybe there's some degrees to this whole thing for me. Now that you asked me the question, like I didn't really put them that way, to think about it, but AAA wise, right? Final Fantasy VII is the AAA game. And then the other two are kind of like, 2D, what I would call indie games. I mean, they're both big, but they're kind of in that indie format, top down 2D, that kind of stuff. So they're different. They're not all the same, but I'm also looking forward to Star Wars Outlaws. So I'll throw that out there.
My two honorable mentions, and I'm going to do them together because I feel like they're very similar, probably surprise you.
I was just looking. We have them written in our notes, and I have to look up the first one because I don't know anything about it.
The first one was announced during the Game Awards. Maybe it was announced before that, but I'm pretty sure this was the one announced during the Game Awards. This was the one where the guy came out and said, my dad was a big influence. This game is in honor of him. Tales of Kenzera Zhao, I think is what it actually is pronounced. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm trying there, but this game looks spectacular. It's so visually striking, and I really like that. Like, I don't know, it's really speaking to me. But it's a 2D kind of platformer, Metroidvania style kind of game. That just really, I don't know. It just really struck me visually. And I'm kind of excited for that. In the same vein, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, which has not been on my radar at all, is getting crazy good reviews. And I watched someone's review of it and I was like, I might be interested. That might be a game I'm interested in. Like, I should try that. So I don't think I'm really excited about it, but it's one of those that's really kind of piquing my interest right now because I've seen some reviews of it. I haven't ever been a Metroidvania kind of style game fan. It's just never been something that I play regularly. But these two games, when I saw them, kind of their trailers, I started to say, man, I should really try something like that. I should really try them. And with the reviews that Prince of Persia is getting and what I'm seeing of it and kind of what I've seen gameplay wise, I'm just okay, I think these deserve some attention from me, and that's why I've put them as honorable mentions.
Who are you?
Yeah, right.
Like, what have you done with Jason? Because these are both 2D side-scrolling platformers, and as everything I know about you is that you don't like platformers, and this is very confusing to me.
Yeah, no, it's really confusing to me too. But I'm just going on gut like feelings here, and what I've heard and seen, and again, I don't know if I'm gonna like them. I really don't. But it seems to be, they seem to be very high quality, and if there's a time to try this kind of stuff, it's now. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I just saw these and I was like, I gotta pay some attention to this. And again, that's why I put them as honorable mentions and not like true like on my list. But I think it says something that I was interested in them both. And they're both kind of the same style game. I don't know. I felt the need to put them down, and I feel the need to stay connected to. I don't know that I'm going to buy Prince of Persia right on release, but I feel the need to kind of stay connected to it, and kind of make sure that it continues to get good reviews, and then probably pick it up.
Okay.
It comes. Prince of Persia comes out January 18th, so really soon. And then Tales of Kenzera comes out April 23rd. So a little bit more time for that one. But I'll probably make my decision about the second one based on how, how it goes with Prince of Persia. But I've also heard the length of these games is probably more of what I'm looking for. That like 8 to 10 to 12 hour game. A lot of things about them are speaking to me, Chris. And I think it's time for me to try them again.
I mean, I would definitely be willing to try either of these. I don't know that I would choose to buy them, but like, I do like platformer games occasionally. And you're right that these look really like well done, good story kinds of these games. And that's the other challenge is a lot of times platformers, they tell you like one big cutscene in the beginning and then like you play the game and then maybe there's a cutscene at the end. But these look like they have a little bit more story like woven in between the levels and stuff. So maybe that's where the kind of interest comes from. Yeah, I mean, cool. I'm glad that you're interested in them, and I would be very curious to see how they go for you, or if you are still interested in them in a month.
Prince of Persia seems to be a $60 game, $50 game on Uplay. Tales of Kenzera potentially
this is 20.
It's a much cheaper game.
It's 20 with a 10% pre-order discount.
But it's on EA, so it will eventually come to Game Pass.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, right. Yes. Man, can they get like Ubisoft Minus or something on Game Pass? Like Ubisoft Plus is their subscription thing.
Like 2 years after the game releases, come to Ubisoft, come to Game Pass. Oh man, talk about the best deal in gaming. Oh.
All right, on my end, I've got a couple of honorable mentions here as well, a couple more, but I'll do them all together as well. WoW, World of Warcraft, The War Within, right? They did announce that is coming in 2024. I am quite excited about that because I think they're pushing themselves forward. They're trying to push themselves on a faster release cadence. If they can keep the quality up while they continue to kind of push things out quickly, I think this is going to be a really good sign for World of Warcraft in kind of the modern era. Now, if they could like reduce the subscription price a little bit or like roll it into Game Pass, because now Microsoft owns Blizzard, that whole thing, we could talk about different ways that could be better on the business model side for me. But like, I am excited for more faster content updates in WoW. So that's an honorable mention for me.
I am also excited for the expansion. I ate my words last episode on playing World of Warcraft. I think this is going to be good. I saw the schedule that they released, with the season 4 of Dragonflight, and then, WoW, The War Within coming early fall. It looked like almost.
Yeah, August or September probably.
I think I'm excited for that pace. I'm excited for that. It coming, and we'll see. I don't know. I'll resubscribe for The War Within. I'll make that commitment here and now on the show.
All right, cool. I will too. The bad thing is going to be when War Within comes out the same 6 weeks period as Warframe and Guild Wars next expansion. They're all going to come out like within 2 months of each other.
Yeah, I know.
So we may have to do a little prioritization.
Just take 2 months off of work. It's fine.
No problem. Don't worry about it. The next one for me is an interesting one. I have my eye on Foamstars.
The Ubisoft game?
Yeah, that one. Yes. The Ubisoft version of Splatoon.
What? I mean, we talked about this when they showed it. God, when did they show it? They showed a trailer of this, and we were
in like June,
like super joking about it. Like, what has changed since we saw that original trailer?
Yes, we were joking about it, but I don't know. Something about the like kind of character shooter, but kind of like map coverage aspect of a game like that. Like, I enjoy Splatoon 2. I haven't really played Splatoon 3. But I enjoyed Splatoon 2 when I bought it, and we played it just a very little bit. And then I played some more of the kind of like co-op modes in it and really enjoyed them. I'm also kind of, I think, hoping for something to kind of recapture the spot that Overwatch 1 back in the day used to fill for like my friend group. I don't think this will, but there's always a chance if they price it right and work it out. This could be cool. I mean, it's different than Splatoon, but it's the same as Splatoon. It's a little bit more, grown up than Splatoon. And I don't know. I want to keep an eye on it. I think I'm not saying this is going to be like my day one purchase, pre-order, the whole bit. Like, I'm not that excited about it, but I am keeping an eye on it, I'll say.
Okay. All right. I'm skeptical, and I do not share any of those feelings. But cool. You let me know.
I tried to play the demo, like they had a beta or whatever.
Oh, they had a demo?
Yeah, I got into it or whatever, and I downloaded it, but then I didn't play it on the 2-day weekend or whatever that they ran it, and then I went to go launch it, and it was like, oops, it's over.
They limit it to 6 hours?
They did not limit it to 6 hours that I know of. This one is by Square Enix. It's not by Ubisoft, so there's no Skull and Bones.
Oh, it's not by Ubisoft.
No, sorry. If I said it was Ubisoft, I'm wrong. It's Square Enix.
Oh, okay. I don't think that changes my opinion at all, but...
You just can't say the Ubisoft game. But yes, it's a character shooter with foam blasting guns. I'll let you know how it is.
Not slime.
Not slime. Definitely not paint.
Yeah, not paint, not slime, but foam. Very different.
I guess the challenge for this is that it's only on PlayStation, and that's probably going to make it a no-go now that I've said this. But it's coming to PS5 and PS4. My last honorable mention is one that I think we're both would be interested in, and it's Train Valley World. So I've played Train Valley 2 a whole bunch, which is like a little puzzle game about getting trains, with different resources and things. There's a time aspect to it, and you've got to build a little train network and run all the trains with all the resources between things while you manage your money. And it's pretty much purely a puzzle game, and I really enjoy it and have played it a bunch. And I think you have too.
Yeah, no, I like Train Valley. I think I may have been the one to introduce you to it.
I think you were.
Because I got it for free somehow, or it was in a Humble Bundle, and I was like, hey, you got to look at this. And I really enjoyed it. It's a fun little puzzle game. I have not stuck with it very much. I love trains. Train games are the best. See previous episodes. But train puzzle games aren't quite what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more like the logistics and the money management side of it rather than the puzzle aspect of it. So I am now currently on the Steam page for Train Valley World, and I am interested to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah, so it has a lot going for it in that this one has automation, so you can plan little train schedules and stuff and try to figure that out, which is really cool. Which, I mean, it's obviously way lighter than something like a Factorio. But side note, Factorio did one of their beta blog post things about improvements to trains in Factorio coming to the expansion. Just saying. But back to Train Valley World. Yes, they have this whole I like the puzzle aspect to it. I like the you can get 3 stars on every level and do a little better, that kind of thing. I like that kind of loop in certain kinds of games and certain games, and this one really scratches that itch. And I think I've played all of the levels in Train Valley 2. I haven't done all the expansions, but I think I played most of the base game levels. And I'm excited for kind of more and different and new mechanics and things like that, hoping that it's good. And then the last thing is they're adding multiplayer to it.
Yeah, I see that it's online co-op, and that just sells it for me.
Right. So we can play online co-op Train Valley, and that, I don't know if it's going to be any good. I don't know if they're going to balance it well, because we kind of had the same problem with Creeper World way back when.
Yeah.
Which added multiplayer, and then we never played it. But this, I don't know. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. They've said it's coming out in 2024. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that one, and I will probably buy it when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm interested in this game and really what it is. I don't know that I fully understand, because it can't just be a Train Valley game, can it? Like, it has to have more than that, because Train Valley was like, connect these and then switch the track switches and then make sure trains don't crash and do it all within a time limit and 3-star the whole. But this looks more like a train logistics game that I'm used to, but I can't tell that from the trailer. I really don't know what's going on here. So when you get it, I will be interested in watching it, and then based on that, I will probably make a decision on whether I'm interested in getting it or not. It is on my wish list, though, so you have at least achieved that.
Good. It has a map editor, so the possibilities are endless. I'm not going to make any maps, but I will download other people's maps, no problem. All right, that brings us to the end of our formal lists of the picks and the honorable mentions for most looking forward to 2024. But we've got actually a few other things that are not on our list.
Yeah, I named this on the sheet. I called it "Not on Our Lists" list. It's the list of all the stuff that's not on our list.
The list of non-listed things.
Yes, you'll understand here in a second, right? The first one that's not on our list, on this list of lists that's not on our list, is Destiny 2: The Final Shape.
This is the end of Destiny 2, right? Surely this is the end.
I was listening to I think it was the Friends Per Second games podcast. Also, great other video game podcast. Listen to them after you listen to us. But I think they were having an interview with someone or on the show or something, and they're just like, how do you? Oh, they were. This is great. You ready for this, Chris? Mm-hmm. They were interviewing Rebecca and Megan from Warframe, from Digital Extremes.
Of course they were. Yes. About
running a live service game. And they were talking about kind of like they were talking about the transition of creative director from Steve to Rebecca and blah, 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 blah. And what it came down to is like, the new war was a very kind of like final kind of sequence for Warframe, right? It was a very like, it's called the new war, but it was really kind of like a very big bow on a lot of story. And they were talking about like, how do you keep a game going after like a very final kind of story mission? And they said, we're asking this because Destiny 2 is coming out with an expansion called The Final Shape. And Rebecca was like, yeah, it's really hard to do, especially when you name your expansion The Final Shape. So, no, I don't. I mean, they're trying to sell it as it's not the end of Destiny, but it's like kind of the end of Destiny. Like,
I would be happy if they would wrap up Destiny 2 and move on to a Destiny 3, because that would give me an excuse to not play it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think that'd be reasonable. Bungie just cut all these people. Like, I really don't think that's in the plan.
Maybe they're just going to wrap it up and be done with it. That's an option.
No, it's got to still be making some money.
Probably. But they didn't get our money this year. That was one thing that we talked about last year that we did one of these, is they had Lightfall coming out, and we said they know how to make a good trailer, but we're not going to buy this. And I think we both succeeded.
We both succeeded, and I have been tempted a number of times, particularly with how cheap Lightfall has been on sale, to buy it. But I have strictly applied the 2-hour rule. I have not purchased it. I have not gone back to it, and I don't regret it.
I don't either. Like, we had a lot of fun in certain parts of Destiny, and we're done with it now, I think, and that's okay.
I'm interested in the story and how it develops in The Final Shape, particularly because of, spoiler alert, Cade 6. So I'm interested in how that all kind of wraps up and what's going on there. But I won't play it.
I would also like to see how that story goes, and I would like to play it, but I also don't think I will play it. It comes out in June. I don't know. We'll see what's going on by then, but I don't need Destiny in my life.
I put an interesting game here because I have been keeping an eye on it. It did get delayed a little bit from 2023 into 2024. But Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 is coming out September 9th. And I say it here, and I put it down here on this not on our list, but something I at least wanted to mention, because I have been trying or thinking about or considering getting into Warhammer 40,000. It seems like the game development and a lot of the games within that universe seem to really be picking up. And I haven't touched any of them. I have not played a single Warhammer 40,000 game of any site of any kind. And I kind of am starting to like feel the FOMO on it. It's this, it's this lore and this world that a lot of people like really love. And I just am not introduced to it at all. And I feel like, and from what little I know about it, I feel like Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 will be a third-person shoot things, simple enough introduction into the world that I am potentially going to use it as my entry point into the Warhammer 40K world. That's kind of why I'm looking at it, because I really want to get into this world. I actually got a gift this year, a really thoughtful gift. I had kind of been talking about this with some family members. I got a gift of like some of the intro into the war, like a book of the intro into Warhammer 40,000 lore. So I'm going to peruse through that, but I'm really, from a game perspective, I think Space Marine 2 is going to be my entry point into that world. I was really hoping that it would come out this past year. It got delayed a little bit to September 9th. Maybe that's not a little bit. That's a lot of it. But that's why I put it here. And I don't know that it's on your radar at all, but I think I at least wanted to point it out because it opens up a lot. I mean, there's a lot of other 40K games. And I just haven't touched any of them.
I've played a little bit of like one or two of them. I don't know anything about the world, so I don't have a lot of the lore, to your point. Yeah, I mean, they all kind of just look to me like a different kind of StarCraft, just in terms of like the world building. It's because it's Marines, like Space Marines that are in like big armor and fighting weird looking things that kind of look like Zerg dudes and whatever. I'm looking at a trailer for Space Marine 2 right now, and you're right, it looks like a third person kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but like those almost like Dynasty Warriors, right? Where you have just kind of like hordes of enemies that you're just like chewing through.
Yep.
I don't know. Okay. I guess that's not really my kind of thing. But maybe it would be the kind of thing that I would play with people if it was on Game Pass. Like we played Gears of War. And that was a perfect Game Pass multiplayer game. Like that was the level of experience I wanted with a game like that looks like this. I don't think that I see myself necessarily getting into this one, but I could be convinced. I think that's where I'm leaning, is that I could be convinced, but it's not on my list.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm looking to get into this game to get into the game. It seems simple and interesting enough to get into the lore, the world. And that's what I'm really looking for it for.
Aren't there like books if you wanted to get into the lore? Like, I mean, you said you got
but
some,
I want to play game, Chris.
Okay.
This is a video game podcast, not a books podcast.
Noted. I'll stop talking about books.
Yeah, no, there are books. This reminds me a lot of Dune. Like every time I hear of Warhammer 40,000, I think a lot of Dune, and I'm probably just offended both of those fan bases. But that's what I think of, because Dune also has a very rich lore and background in the books, and I often kind of conflate the two, and I'm very interested in both. Right, I really kind of want to learn both, but I haven't, and I don't, and I want to.
The next not on our list game is one that we talked about recently because they had some info at the Game Awards, Stormgate, which is, speaking of StarCraft, the StarCraft, not StarCraft game, real-time strategy, combat kind of a game that looks good. I talked about almost buying it on Kickstarter, 2 episodes ago, but I still haven't done that, and I'm still not going to do that. But I am looking forward to seeing how this game shapes up, seeing what it looks like, seeing if the skill ceiling, well, or maybe I should say if the skill floor is low enough for me to participate. We'll see how that goes. But yes, I am excited about Stormgate coming into the world, and I will definitely be keeping an eye on it. And it's supposed to come out in 2024. So hopefully by like mid 24, we'll have this game. It's got 3-player co-op.
Yeah, it's a mid-year game. I think I mentioned it before. I'll be interested in watching you and seeing if you try to convince me to get into it. I don't have a whole lot to say about the next one. I just wanted to note, I think it's worth noting just because of how popular the game is. I haven't played Elden Ring. I don't think you've played Elden Ring. I don't think that... I kind of regret it because I feel like I should experience it, but I haven't. The expansion is likely coming out in 2024, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. We thought maybe that it was 2023, but it's not. It's maybe 2024. Who knows? Whatever. But I think I wanted to mention it here just because of how big the game is and how successful it was. But was it called Shadow of Erd Tree? Is that what it's called?
Shadow of the Erd Tree, yeah.
So, that's really all I have to say about it is that it's coming out and that I haven't played it, and I kind of regret that, but I don't think that that's ever going to change.
I also had a thought like this. Like, I actually thought, like, ooh, maybe I should get, like, Elden Ring runs on the Steam Deck, doesn't it? Like, I think I could do that, right? And then I didn't do it. But I did consider it. I feel like it was in the last, like, 2 or 3 months I was thinking about it. And somehow it kind of got on my list, like, my brain list for a second. But I don't think I would find a lot of fulfillment in playing Elden Ring because I don't think I like the Souls-like genre, but it's been a long time since I tried to pick up, like, I don't know, Dark Souls 2 or something in the PS3 era, so I know that things have come a long way since then. Elden Ring, I'll be on the fence with it for a while, but I think you're right. I think it's intriguing. I kind of wish I would have played it. I probably am not going to play it, but never say never. It's on sale right now for like $36 on PlayStation.
No, down.
It's on $36 on Steam too. Wow. Such a good deal.
Down. You have Final Fantasy 16 to play.
I got to buy it first. But yes, if I'm going to spend $40, I'll probably buy Final Fantasy 16. Speaking of Final Fantasy, I'll throw this out there one more time because I did it last year and I'm going to do it again this year. I'm going to continue to wishcast the Final Fantasy 9 remake until it exists.
You're just gonna hope it into existence.
I'm just gonna just hopium here. Let's go, because I would love a remake of that game with some voice acting, and it doesn't have to have new art, but it would just be great. Please, Square Enix, go for it. Like, let's do it.
I You've talked about it so much that you've almost made me excited about it. Like, I want it now too.
Yeah, everyone
only
should. To
like experience what the heck you're talking about. You've said it's going to happen so many times. Did it get leaked? Like, do we know it's happening, but they just haven't announced? Like, what you are really hyped up on that this is going to happen.
Yeah. So there was a leak. There was an NVIDIA leak, like a GeForce Now leak. I want to say like 18 months ago now, or maybe 2 years ago. And there were a bunch of games that were in there that leaked before they were announced, and then they got announced. So there's a lot of like, where there's smoke, there's fire on that one. And Final Fantasy IX Remake was on the list. So I'm just waiting for them to do one of those like weird, hey, we announced this thing, and then you kind of get a trailer and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the thing. And then at the end of the trailer, they're like, and it comes out next week. Like, that's what I'm expecting to happen with Final Fantasy IX Remake, but it hasn't happened yet, and I'm still wishing.
Okay, I'm with you on this one. I have no loyalty or anything, but you just like you've been on this train so long. Like, I'm there with you.
Good. I'm glad you're coming along for the ride. The last thing that's not on our list because it also doesn't exist, but there's a lot of mumblings about it, is the Switch 2 is probably going to come out in 2024. At least that's what everybody kind of thinks. And I am very much looking forward to the possibility of better hardware on a Switch. I don't know what it is. I just, better hardware on handhelds, right? Come on, Steam Deck, let's go. Like Steam Deck 2, Switch 2, I'm here for it.
I am excited for it too. I think I'm going to pick it up. I think it will be kind of my reinvigorate. Yeah, here's why. I saw Mario Kart it laying around the other day, and I was like, I should play more Mario, because I don't remember if I did or not, but all of the old maps that they were releasing as DLC, I'm still excited about that. I still want to play all those. The Super Mario RPG, I wanted to put some time into and maybe play. And then Super Mario. I just got Super Mario Wonder for my sister for Christmas, and because she was like, "Hey, I want like a casual kind of platformy kind of game," and I was like, "Have you heard of Super Mario Wonder?" And she's like, "No, I haven't heard of it." And I was like, "Great, don't look it up. I'm gonna get it for you." So I don't know. Switch 2 has kind of been a little bit more part of my life. I don't have an OLED. Next time I visit you, Chris, we need to pull that out, and I need to see it because I want to experience like what it's like to for them. Like, what is the difference? Like, what is it like? But no, I'm with you. I think if it comes out, I would probably ask for it for my birthday or Christmas. I probably wouldn't buy it for myself, but I would put it on my list for sure. And I don't know. Nintendo's doing a really good job of putting out a lot of good games right now. I mean, they always do, but they're putting out a lot right now. My question to you, my hypothetical to you, Chris, is would you still insta-buy it if it wasn't backwards compatible with Switch 1 games?
Ooh, that is a good question. I probably would buy it. I don't know if I would insta-buy. However, I was also going to pose the same point that I expect that the Switch 2 itself probably won't be OLED, which is a shame.
Really?
Like, I don't know, right? I'm thinking, right, because they're going to want to go for a low price point, right? They're going to hit some price point, and not OLED screens are cheaper than OLED screens. So if they go with the handheld form factor and they have a choice, I don't think they're going to go OLED out the gate. I would love it. Like if they would do, here's the non-OLED and then pay an extra $100 and you can have an OLED screen. I would do that in a second. But I don't think they're going to do that. And I'm concerned that like it's going to turn into the same kind of thing where it's like, oh, we come out with the Switch 2. And then like 3 years later, we come out with the Switch 2 OLED and it's like, but I already have the first one and whatever. So
can you still buy the Switch 1 a non-OLED like LED screen?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's like $50 cheaper.
Okay, so both models are still available.
Yeah, I think it's like $50 cheaper.
I guess I expected them to release both and do like two different models. That's what I expected. But you're probably not wrong that they would release the regular one and then a year or two later release the OLED one so everyone rebuys it.
Exactly. Like it's a very classic Nintendo move to like re-release a thing with the features you wish you would have had the first time, kind of a thing. Yeah, I don't know what to do with it. When it comes out, I'm sure I will be hyped about it. But I don't know if it's even a day one buy for me if it doesn't come with a compelling slate of launch games. Because I can live on the Switch OLED, especially if they do any sort of like generation bridging or if like things are backwards compatible, like for a year or two, like I would stick on my Switch OLED for a little while. And just keep playing those games and then hopefully someday, go bump up to the Switch 2 or whatever OLED, hopefully. And then kind of take that and run with it. That I'm also excited. Like, I think the thing I'm most interested in on the Switch 2 side of things is that whenever Nintendo comes out with new hardware, they come out with new concepts for their mainline games. Like that's where Super Mario Odyssey came from. That's where, Zelda Breath of the Wild came from. So like, I'm excited to see them have more kind of headroom and kind of hardware to play with, because it always kind of leads them to coming out with some really good new games using their very strong IP. So that's probably the thing I'm most excited about. It's not actually the hardware. It's really more so the possibility of like more and better Nintendo games, because it's always just kind of a shot in the arm whenever they put out new hardware.
I'm excited to be able to play Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom with more than 8 frames per second.
Yeah, that would actually be really nice too if they come out with some much better CPU hardware for the Switch next, because the mobile stuff that they were using when the Switch 1 came out in 2016, 17, it is very dated now. Like things have gotten old when it came out. Better. Yeah, exactly. Things are much better now in the like mobile system on a chip world. I mean, they're doing ray tracing on the iPhone 15. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm ready for this, and I'm ready for the games that they have slated and the games that they haven't, announced.
It's also Nintendo, so they'll do the thing where they like make a Nintendo Direct and then a month later the hardware comes out, because that's how they did the Switch 1.
Yeah,
so I'm expecting they'll do the same thing. They really spin up the hype machine and just keep it fever pitch.
Yeah, it'll just be a drop, and it'll just be like, hey, pre-order now, get it next month. and then pre-orders will be out within 4 hours.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, well, hey, that's this is the 2024 hype train, I guess.
Ooh, that's a good name for the episode.
2024 hype train is that. This is it. Let us know what I'm suspecting, based on the size of my list, that I missed one. I think I may. Someone's going to come and you guys didn't talk about this, and I think I missed one. So tell me what I missed, or tell Chris what he missed, by joining our Discord, which you can get to at discord.pnapodcast.com.
If you want to find our show notes with some links to the stuff we talked about, or the list of the 2024 games that are coming that we used to build this episode, you can visit our website at pnapodcast.com. That's P, the letter N, the letter A, podcast.com.
If you're enjoying the show, we would love if you could share it with some others that might enjoy it as well.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you next time. Do you have your spreadsheet ready, Jason?
I'm getting there. I'm thinking about all the places I need to go to look at all the stuff and find all the expenses.
Yep, me too. I've been thinking about that too. I just bought Final Fantasy VII Rebirth pre-order, like I just mentioned. So that's going to have to go on my list now for next episode when we talk about
I told you, I was very firm that we were not allowed to record the 2023 spending recap video until 2023 was over. So we are recording it we are recording it on the first of the year because there's some travel and some scheduling stuff coming up. But so we're recording a little early, but we could not record it until the stroke of midnight, just December 31st, because I too have some expenses late in the game that may revolve around a certain Warframe game. So it was very important that we waited until the exact last second and did not record early.
Yes. So tune in next time to hear all about it.